Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to our August 2021 reading. Woo, this is a powerful, powerful month for Aquarians. I'm gonna be honest, but I think in a really important, helpful, healing, supportive way that will help you on this journey and bring some light and joy to your lives. I've been thinking about it, having Saturn in Aquarius, I'm really grateful for it. Maybe that's selfish. But but for you all, this is a time of huge growth. Saturn is about quality over quantity. It is about only allowing the best to come with you. So when Saturn's working with you really, really personally like this, it's a very strong, like, we're going to only have you focusing on the things that really work with you. And sometimes that's like, what is going on? And this month, I think, allows you to culminate, understand, integrate, see. And one of the first messages that came up for me was there are many ways to solve the riddle. There are many answers to the equation of your life, like the things that are bewildering you or confusing you. There are many, 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 many answers. So open your heart to that right away. Set that intention for August. There are going to be so many answers that are satisfying, that are supportive, that will show you the way, that will light up your Aquarian energy. Jupiter has retrograded back into your sign by the time we get into August. So you have that Jupiterian blessing with you again to work with most of the rest of this year, which is really exciting. And I think you will find that it will amplify more of, I think, your joyful, creative Aquarian offerings to the world. We also have a second of 2 full moons in your sign this month. So we had one at the very beginning of Leo season, and we're having one literally the last degrees of Leo season. So this year you got 2 full moons, which means you're seeing yourself clearly, and you're seeing your growth clearly and incorporating that. Now we also have the sun moving through Leo and a new moon moving through Leo and Mercury at the very beginning of the month moving through Leo. And I call this mirror season. So this is when all that energy is opposing you. This is a time of really seeing yourself from a different perspective, almost like stepping outside of yourself and being able to look at how you've grown, what wisdom you have amassed, how you have built and created in this life in a way that is really, really powerful for you. So this can be a wonderful time of deep understanding of yourself and your growth and your path. And I really love that for you because I do find that, change and growth can feel a bit chaotic sometimes. And like there's all these things getting thrown at you and all these things that are changing. And it's really kind of tricky sometimes to find your footing in that. Like, how do I make sense of all this, all of these things coming at me? And this is a wonderful time to get a little bit more of that input and that impulse. I remember, there have been so many times in my life where I have been taught there was only one way to do something. When it comes to being creative, when it comes to thinking of ideas, right? I had this violin teacher when I was a kid, and my mom was adamant that I play violin from when I was like 3 to when I graduated high school. 8 of Pentacles. I love that for Aquarius. And for a while there, I had this really uninspiring violin teacher. I hated going to these lessons. 4 of Pentacles. Ah, yes. A moment of pause and reflection. And I remember my creativity shrank in those years when it came to music. I didn't want to practice. I didn't want to make music with that instrument especially, because she would just, the best you would ever get was like, you got the idea. That's literally what she would say in this little voice. Am I being mean? Probably. I'm not trying to mock her. She has her own journey. I'm sure it comes with plenty of pain, but I mean, she was really unsupportive, super uninspiring. And I remember sometimes I would go through these phases where I would force myself to practice really hard. And I'd be like, I'm going to show up to this lesson, and this time she's going to actually support me. I said, practice, 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 and come in really prepared to play my piece really cleanly, to go through our exercises and be like, yeah, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter if I played everything perfectly, with perfect tone, with perfect phrasing. 5 of Swords. All right, we're going through an Aquarian mind maze, are we, this month? So yeah, I would practice, 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 show up, play quite well, I would say, because I had put that effort in, and I've been playing for years of my life at this point. And it didn't matter. She just did not have any investment in my creative playing. And the thing is, I was trying to solve that creative riddle, right? I was trying to get to the right answer, the right way of playing, the right way of doing my music. And the thing is that as I was seeking her approval, as I was seeking her right way, I was getting off the path of like why you play an instrument, why a human would make something beautiful and creative. 8 of Swords. My friends, what is happening? Let's pull one more card because I can't leave it there. All right, Justice and Emperor, a little better. Plenty of cards to talk through today. But as I was trying to find that single solution, right, that single right way of playing, I was losing my way of playing. I was losing my way of creating artistry. And I switched teachers. And she kind of let me choose like which pieces I wanted to learn and how I wanted to play. And my enjoyment of that instrument blew up. Suddenly, there were like sounds and tones coming out of my instrument that had been suffocated for years. And part of the story is like have good teachers in your life. And part of the story is that when you try and pursue like a specific aesthetic, right? You try to pursue a specific answer to the equation, a specific end to the road, you can sometimes suffocate your own way of answering the riddle. And we're often trained to suppress our own answer to the riddle. And so there's an invitation this month with all this supportive energy really truly working with you. And really this being a time of energetic exploration. Really, truly, August really is that. Let your mind be open to how you want to solve your riddle. Right? From a place of trust, not from paranoia, right? Which, let's talk about that. So, okay, let's talk about these pentacles first, because I really love this combo. 8 of Pentacles is that slow and steady showing up to the practice and how big the payoff is with that. So there's a reminder here that if there are things that you are trying to solve or work out, or projects or ideas that are taking some time, remember that each showing up is going to show you more. It's going to culminate, and you are in that process right now of mastering. The subheading for this card is often the student becomes the master. So you may find that this month you're realizing you are mastering a skill, or that over the last 6 months or year that you realize that you have mastered something new, that you have mastered something powerful, and that you've actually gotten further than you think you have. So give yourself some credit. And those full moons, that second full moon is going to help you see that. Now, the 4 of Pentacles is an important energy. And I really do believe that because my light is really bright. The 4 of Pentacles is the rest point when we are about to grow. When we are growing and we can tell we're growing and we're getting a little nervous because our inner fear voice is a little bit like, am I allowed? Am I allowed? Am I allowed to do it differently? Am I allowed to play violin from a place of joy and abandon rather than from like technical blah? That's my example. Am I allowed? And it's important to let that worry voice, the voice of this guy who's like holding on to all his riches and unable to move, frozen, let that inner worrier express whatever it needs to express to you. And let it know that you got it. And let it go. Now, we have this kind of mental maze going on here with the 5 of Swords and the 8 of Swords. And once again, this is a natural and innate part of growth, an innate part of getting to know ourselves as we transition into new segments of our lives. So often as humans, we try to avoid this. Especially if you're like somebody who's very positive and wants to see things from like a beautiful perspective. It's so tempting, and believe me, raise my hand, I am guilty of this. Guilty. I have done this. I have tried to just force myself to just be focused on the adventure, on the creativity, on the brightness, on the light, on the fun. Yeah. But this is what I've learned. You want a shortcut in life? Go straight to the place where you're feeling paranoid, uncertain, and afraid, and have a conversation with it. Let yourself grieve. Let yourself get angry. Let yourself feel worried and frustrated, and hear what those voices have to say. What are they saying? Most of the time, they're going to be telling you stories based on past trauma. They're going to be telling you stories that are trying to keep you safe. Sometimes, and I like to write them out when I notice that voice. It's like, I'm going to hold back. I'm going to keep myself small because I'm afraid. I'm afraid that people are going to do mean things to me, that there's going to be betrayal. I'm afraid that that I'm never going to see the way again. I'm afraid that my energy is never going to come back to the way it is, right? Like when you let yourself write those things down, you'll be able to very quickly see the things that maybe there's like a legitimate gut feeling. This isn't right for me. I do want to shift this over here. And you'll also be able to see very, very quickly the things that, this is giving me goosebumps, the things that are just that part of you trying to protect yourself. And when you realize that it's in all good intentions attempting to protect you, you can also let it go. So that's a really wonderful way to do it. And the thing is, we don't want to ignore this part of ourselves because it doesn't go away just because we tell it to be quiet, right? It doesn't go away because we tell it that it's being dumb. It's funny. We have to treat the traumatized part of ourselves, the scared part of ourselves, with just as much respect as the positive, optimistic side of ourselves. We really, really do. And when we do that, guess what happens? Everything else gets easier. Everything else gets easier. And I'm literally talking, I've had this happen where I'll be like, I'm just feeling so numbed out, like things are great. I can list down all the things that I'm grateful for. I can say them out loud every day. I can look around and list them. I can see them. I know they're there and I still feel numb. I'll be like, why? Why am I feeling so numb? Because I should be joyful. Then I'll realize I haven't taken the time to hear that part of myself that is a little worried. It's a little scared of my growth. It's a little scared of me doing things outside of the lines. It's a little scared of me not following the rules, not following the cutouts of, my ancestors or the friends around me. Like I am doing things quite differently in my life. And there isn't like a nice cookie cutter way that I get to the answer. And so I have to let that part of myself that is scared and worried have a seat at the table. Not necessarily be in charge of the powwow, not necessarily being in charge of the road ahead, but to let that part of myself know I respect and love it. And that part of the self can also really give us some great hits of information when it comes to something that maybe does feel icky, right? Like Five of Swords isn't about getting more paranoid and getting more afraid that people are going to hurt you. It is a really helpful energy in if you are feeling like there's an environment or a friendship or a project that when you go there, when you step into it, it feels off, to honor that as well. So there's both things going on here. There can be the fear voice, which isn't really based on anything we, need to act on. And there is a voice that lets us know when something needs to shift. Now, I couldn't help myself. I had to pull some extra cards. So Justice and the Emperor came through. And for me, these are cards of calibration, recentering, connecting to your bigger path. And so what I kind of see here this month is a really interesting odyssey, I think, all the way through Leo season, through your full moon, and then as we enter into Virgo season, we enter into 8th house transformational energy for you, which is going to be about leaving behind one identity and more fully embracing the next. So it's kind of like you start out the month, you realize you've learned more than you even realized. You realize you've come very, very far. You go through maybe some points of insecurity or worry in that growth, in that expansion, right? In that creativity, in realizing you do want things to have different answers. You do want things to have different solutions, that you do want to solve the riddle and the mystery of your life in a completely different way than you expected to solve it. And then you come into greater sovereignty. Justice, I love. You're going to be getting some satisfying answers, I think, this month. Yeah. Justice is that wonderful satisfaction of something coming full circle and clicking, you know? It's really, really good energy. And just having peace of mind about something. So that's great. And then the Emperor. Take your seat on your funky throne, my Aquarian friends. Like, take your seat. I was just talking to Leo before I came to sit with you all, and the Leo Aquarius axis is very strong. I'm a Leo and I love Aquarian energy. I love it so much. Like, I'm a little obsessed. Like, how are you all doing what you're doing? I want to know all the secrets. And I was telling them the same thing. They also got the Emperor, and it's like, take your seat, man. Take your seat at this table of life. Like, you are allowed to be yourself with all your traumas from the past, with all your experiences. They're valuable. It's worthwhile. It's not something you have to edit out of yourself. And there's this empowerment that's happening by the end of the month with Aquarians that I just freaking love. I love this. I love this reading. I'm getting like worked up and excited because I love this reading. I love the odyssey it takes us on, and I love that it addresses straight up. You're allowed to go and visit parts of yourself that need attention, and that it won't detract from your power. It's only going to make you more relaxed and happy in life. So let's do a cheers. Let's do a toast. And this is sparkling water, just FYI. Hello, my dear friends. I wish this month to be full of just ecstatic love, ecstatic creativity. I hope that this month you feel, you give yourself the credit for all the growth, all the shifting, all the changes that have happened in your life in the last 8 months. I wish you a joyful, creativity-filled, free-spirited month of clarity and fun and play and connecting with your soul signature voice and letting it flow and letting yourself be you in all your different dimensions. And I just wish you a blessed and loving August, my friends. You know, like, I'm going to get emotional, but you really do deserve to feel loved and supported, and we really do need your energy in the world. So I don't know why, but like, whenever I'm really connected, my energy's been blocked for over a year. I keep bringing it up, but it's really been amazing to come back online. And it reminds me how a couple of years ago, I would cry on Aquarian readings all the time. I would get really, really emotional, and I still don't know exactly why. But I guess I just feel really strongly that I want Aquarians to feel loved in this world. I just feel like that's important. All right, so I would love to hear how your August is going in the comments and connect with you more. So hang out, like and subscribe, and I'd love to see you. You can also find me on my Patreon, where I've been going a little more personal, just kind of talking about my journey and how I've been dealing with different aspects of all the things that I'm working with in my life, because I've got quite an interesting crossroads happening in my life at the moment. So I'd love to see you over on Patreon or on Instagram. I'd love to see you in any of those places. I love you all so much, and have a gorgeous August, my beautiful Aquarian friends.